Melody line is really good, but sometimes melody line is just too much like sounds even. So you have to make a little bit dynamic change there because it starts from G, the soprano line, and it goes to E, C, A, F sharp, D sharp. So it's just going down gradually. So you have to make a little bit like a dynamic changes. So use your dynamic changes more and just straight up your fingers like this. This is the more like a keyboard. We can just like that. This is a keyboard and your finger should be approached in a very light way. Just don't press too much. So don't take your weight too much. So just press the finger just like that with a very delicate touch. So can you do it one more time? But for the measure 3, they have a dotted rhythm. In order to make a dotted rhythm more like precisely, and you have to make articulations there between the dotted 16 notes and then 32nd notes, and make a little break there. Okay, so make a like a perfect articulations there. I think from measure 5 to measure 8 is very important phrase here because you have to make it more like a longer phrasing line here. And even though we need some kind of articulations there, and I don't want to isolate it all kinds of finger, you also should think about all kinds of connection between every single note there. Because Bach's music, every single note makes some kind of every phrase there. Because that is the very important stuff to remember. Because Bach's error and the most important thing is difference of instrument. But modern piano is very different. We have more like extended pedals. We can have a lot of keyboard. We can extend our dynamic levers. We can create a more like a various sound of colors. But the most important stuff is, even though Bach's music is very conservative, his music is more like a modern. His music is very innovative and very creative because his music was very some kind of creations. So that's why we have to think about it. So would you play more like from measure 5 to measure 8? But you have to make a longer phrasing line. Also on the right hand, on the soprano line, you should think about the dotted rhythm there because we can find out all kinds of dotted rhythm, especially like a dotted 16 notes. Every 16 notes have some kind of strong point. So you have to lean up your bodies and muscle and your all kinds of strengths on that note there. Da-dan, 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 just like this, in order to make musical directions very clearly. Gradually diminuendo. Good. You did a very good job. But I want to hear more like a gradual diminuendo there. So from measure 5 to measure 6, you have to start with forte volume and then make a gradual diminuendo there. So on the measure 6, I want to hear the very soft sound. So you can just create a very little and very soft piano there. Okay. So can you play from measure 5, please? Okay, lean up your body. Make a little diminuendo. From the measure 6, it has to go forward. So more like a dynamic changes. We need more like a crescendo there. So you have to go forward for the forte line. This is a more like a dramatic section here. So from measure 6 to the measure 8, you can make a longer crescendo line. And at the end of the phrase, on the measure 8, you can make just like a flowing, just a wave. Wave is just like a flowing, and don't divide it anything like this. So just make a big connection there. Make a big crescendo. And then measure 7, I want to hear more like a little bit powerful forte there. Of course, your left hand can support the right hand melody line. So not only just for the right hand, but also left hand should be coming out more. So you can make some kind of dramatic story there. So can you play measure from 6 one more time, please? So make a more kind of dramatic story. Support the right hand. Just piano. Good, good, good. Very nice. Bach is more kind of innovative and creative composer in his era, even though his music is Baroque. And many people think that Bach is very not interesting or sometimes boring, but I don't think he make any not interesting piece because his music has a lots of musical elements, and especially which makes sometimes people excited or we just expect something's happen. So Bach's music has this kind of attractive moments. So you always should think about that first. Okay, but just be careful and we can just put our emotions there, but which is based on Bach's idea and Bach's music first. So that's why you should read the score very carefully. Before you put your energy or your emotion, and you have to read the score very carefully because all kinds of musical word is already written on the score. That is Bach. So that's why we have to understand what kind of stuff Bach want to present to us or what kind of things he wants to make a story. So we have to understand first, and then we can put our emotion and our power and our creations there. Okay. So everything is based on the score first. Yes, I think that's pretty good questions because you asked about the pedal. Well, sometimes we need a pedal. Of course, if we play on the harpsichord, of course, we cannot use any pedal. But the modern piano is a little bit different because we have more kind of extended lever and you have to compromise the pedal. But sometimes you don't need to use the pedal too much for the Bach's music because we have like a finger pedal or just kind of wrist pedal. Wrist pedal means is wrist rotations. So you have to make a rotations moving around your wrist here. And of course, you can make a more like a legato line to use your fingers. And if you really want to just use your pedal, you should compromise. You have to make a balance. It's not too much. Some kind of pointed notes, you can, of course, you can use it, but not that too much. So you should always control about the pedal first. Okay, that's pretty much good questions. But just make sure, and we have tons of different pedals, not only foot pedal, we have finger pedal and wrist pedal, and of course, muscle pedal. You can use various pedaling there. That's good.